I am here. I am here, and it is a Saturday, and I do, as you probably know if you've ever tuned in, I do this Monday through Friday with Stephanie, my wonderful sidekick, Stephanie McCain, Monday through Friday, 7:30-ish to 8:30-ish. And then on Saturdays, I'm here by myself. Good morning, Ruth. Hey, amazing morning to you. I am here, and just, as I look out, I'm looking out. I don't know about you, but I get excited about nature, right? And I was so like in a mood of celebration because I was excited that this week I got a chance to see the grass. I was, like the snow had all melted. There was the grass down there, and I kept thinking to myself, okay, let me get out and ground myself in the grass. But I didn't, right? Because I was thinking to myself, oh, I got time. And so now that the snow is back, I'm looking at it, and well, I'm not looking at it right now. Right now, what I see is the tops of a treetop that I sometimes look at, especially when the wind is blowing, because whether there's leaves on there or not, it's like it's so tall that there's this sway at the top. Well, now that the sun is coming up, there is this ice that is at the top of the branches, and the ice branches are glistening in the sunshine. I know that the ice will be melted off of them, post haste, it'll be gone. But for right now, it just looks like a crystal, like this crystal branches, and it's so beautiful. And one of the things that I know is that there is this power in our gaze. And I know that sometimes I say stuff that, other people don't get into. But there's this in the Bible, there's this thing that says, look to the hills from whence cometh your glory. There is this wonderful thing about lifting our gaze up above. Like, so say for instance, straight ahead is our normal gaze. But when we look up, there is something about the looking up that does something chemically with our brain or with our mind as in the programming state. So when you look up, it matters what it is that you're looking up to or what you're looking up and seeing. And so sometimes when I come in here and I sit down, the first thing I do is I look up at the treetop and I'm saying, thank you, God, right? Thank you, whatever that may mean. And so I'm conscious about that thing. One of when I was taking the classes, I gotta give me a minute to come down, right? But when I was taking classes, the psychic development classes, we always talked about the ways in which you get intuitive messages. So whether it is hearing or feeling or seeing pictures or words going across the screen of your mind, like I'm saying, it's when you get the messages, it's either above your normal line of sight or sometimes it's beneath it, right? But it is something that you have to be conscious about how it is that how you're looking at things, what you're looking at. And so I make sure that my line of sight when I'm looking up, that I'm also thinking up, I'm also praying up, I'm also of that mindset. So I am just, glistening like the tops of the trees. I'm glistening, and I'm feeling incredibly blessed. So good morning to you. As I take that breath in and just knowing that, this life is good, right? Life is good. Oh, those are angry faces, huh, Ruth? Hey, the life is good. Life is really, really good. And so you just have to be conscious and aware about the goodness therein. And once you are of that mindset where I talk about gratitude all the time, where you recognize gratitude in everything. It is, oh, you have to work today. Oh, well, congratulations to you, right? Because there are so many people who want to work, who can't find work, and so many people who, and here's the thing, right? I want to always be in a space of gratitude. I know that sometimes it's like, oh, begrudging. Yesterday, and the day before, I had opportunities to go someplace in the evening time, to go out and be around people, my friends that I knew, but it was like just I just didn't want to go out in the cold. I was like, oh, I'm so content right here. And so there was that like, I don't want to go out there, but at the same time, I'm grateful for having someplace to go. I'm grateful that I have friends. I'm grateful for the love that is I feel extended towards me when people invite me places, whether I go or not. I'm grateful because I know what I do know is that there are so many people out there who feel as if they don't have that same kind of stuff. So I get to go to work, I get to do work, I get to be happy, I get to share with you, I get to look up, I get to be thankful and grateful. We all get to do these things. And it's a matter sometimes of just shifting around our own energy and just recognizing what a true blessing it is. Um, I came in here today with a whole bunch of stuff on my mind. A whole bunch of stuff because during the week sometimes I'm so busy focused in on what I need to do when I'm talking out of a book, that sometimes I need to circle back around to talk out of the book. And so I try to keep things in alignment with that. Now, then on Saturdays, I feel like sometimes I can come in here and talk about different stuff, right? So whether or not we are talking about what is going on overseas and the people who are, whatever their last night looked like, or I know that it is in a different time zone, and so while this may be their night still, or their night could have preceded us and we are now in their afternoon. But to get up and to see your city as it is being crumbled and pummeled and by some seeming madman can be disconcerting, and something that we have not had to deal with, the and thankfully not, right? We have thankfully not had to, here in Ohio anyway, have not had to see our places just bombed by somebody that is standing outside of where we are. Certainly, we have been through moments where we have had uprisings here. And it has not been that distance of in the past that we have had uprisings. But we have not had the sense that they may have over over there and what they're going through right now. And this can't help but impact everyone that is around. So while we may, on one hand, think that it is just about one place, all of Europe is feeling the effects of what is going on, and they can't help but feel the effects that's going on. When Chernobyl, I watched the movie Chernobyl, and a lot of times we watch movies and we think that we understand the devastation that happened when that nuclear place when they had that, when Chernobyl happened. But to a great extent, we can't even fathom that, right? And so when you think about all that they may be going through, we can't help but stand in a place of solidarity and prayer, and knowing that this is not the way that we solve problems or deal with the issues at hand. And for me, at the where I'm sitting at now, I will say to you, I will say to you that that while there have been a lot of shifts and changes, right? There have been a lot of shifts and changes that has gone on throughout the world at different times. Nothing, well, I don't even want to say that. I don't want to even say that, because I will tell you that a lot of times what we see is what our news channels think we are want to show us. And so there have been wars that have been fought on, even on the African continent, genocides that have happened, and people not report on it or feel that those lives are not worthy of the reporting. So when we see these images and these ideas that are coming out of Europe right now, we might be of the mindset that that this is something that is new. But there is always some kind of uprising that is going on somewhere in the world, and depending upon the focus that is put on it, is what we see. So right now it happens that Putin is in focus. It so happens right now that it is Ukraine. When it has been in other places, we have not seen this type of coverage. And so there's always something that is going on in the world. One of the things that Mike Milano, I do believe his name is Michael Milano, who did the 137 Shots movie, he said that what we need to do is start to redefine how we see power and how we see strength. And if the only way that we define power and strength is through brute force, we will always have somebody playing war games. But until we start to see it as powerful, just as powerful, to allow diplomacy to work, to come to the table and talk about these things, we will always have this stuff. And and then there's this other part of us that thinks that somehow it would be different if if we had women leadership, or at least taking part in a piece of what it means to govern. So these are people's sons and daughters that are being put in harm's way. These are children. These are women and elderly that is being put in harm's way. And the tragedies to the structures are one thing, but the loss of life is something totally different. And so as we continue to pray for Ukraine, hold them in our thoughts and prayers, let's not miss out on the Russian people as well, who we must also hold in our thoughts and prayers. From what I understand, there are people in the streets that are protesting what is going on. And there is, this is just, it's amazing, and it is crazy. So yeah, let's be about that business now. Yeah, I it's so amazing to me when I started thinking about all of this stuff. I have been doing a deep dive into my own into myself, which is what I do on a regular basis. And part of me writing a book is about also pulling out the experiences that I have, and then as I pull those up, as I go through this process of remembering, it's as if everything that has happened so far in my life has led me to a particular point, just like in your life, right? All the stuff that you have brought along with you. Sometimes we think about it as baggage that we carry. I'm grateful for the things that I carry, and I don't look at them as if they are heavy or somehow, we've given our experiences a bad name, but that is because a lot of times we view them in a toxic way, right? We think about them as toxic thoughts, as things that weigh us down, rather than over road or over things that we have traversed. And so when you think of it in a toxic way, in this toxicity, whether it's thinking about past marriages or past relationships, or things that have happened to you on jobs and all of that stuff, if we could count it all a blessing, right? If we can look at it and say, man, that from this relationship, and know that we've gotten something good out of each of them. And if you have not looked for the good, then you have not truly looked at your relationship. Our minds tend to bring up the things that we judge as wrong. And so we hold these things up without saying, oh, yeah, this was wrong, that was wrong. But oh, let me talk about what was good. A friend of mine once said about a relationship that I was in, she started talking about how she didn't like this guy, and she wouldn't even have a conversation with me about him if I wanted to. And I was like saying, well, what's up with that, right? And she says, oh, I don't like him because he's this and he's that. And I was like, oh, but because what we do is we have a tendency when we talk, we have a tendency to talk about the complaints rather than about the good stuff that comes out of things. So when we are focused in on just the things that, because there are some people who, I don't know about you, but I got some people that are just better receptors for my complaints, right? They will sit there and I can say something and oh my goodness, they take the ball and they run with it. Like, let me tell you what happened to me this week. Earlier in the week, I went to my car wash. I've got this place where I go to get my car washed, and I have a plan that is there. So I go in, I drive in, and I get my car washed. Well, this past week, my tire somehow got caught in the thing, whatever that is, the track that it goes on, and it bust my tire. Now, surely I could say, oh my gosh, this happened and blah, 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 and get all mad and upset and bent out of shape about it. But you guys, if you've watched me before, you know how I am. My personality is consistent. I don't have a personality when I'm talking to you and then another personality when I show up someplace. My personality is always like, what is it here for me, right? What is it that I'm supposed to learn? What is it that I'm supposed to do? I go into that space. I don't sit up and trip over stuff. But what I do also is oh my God, I'm so grateful that I got a great spare in my trunk, right? I don't have a donut in my trunk. I have a full-size spare in my trunk. So I'm so grateful that I got a great spare tire in my trunk. And I'm so grateful that I have not only AAA, but I also have progressive roadside assistance. And because I buy my tires at Sam's Club, I also have road hazard, and they will also send out somebody to come and get me when my tire bursts. excuse me. So I stand in a place of gratitude all the time because I know if you've ever, I mean, if you've lived life, you know what it's like to be in a place where you don't have, right? Where you don't have a spare, where you don't have somebody to come change your tire, where you don't have recourse, right? Where you're feeling like, oh, well, this is not gonna make or break me. I've been in the place where I thought, oh no, not something else, right? I don't know about you, but you know, maybe all of us have been in that place. So I can step into a place of gratitude and say, whoo, you know what? I got this. This is so amazing to be in this space. Cause just, you know, I don't know how many years ago, but this would not have been the case. So when my tire burst, rather than get all bent out of shape, I made the call, you know, on the little app. I put the little thing in the app, you know, come change my tire. I did all the little stuff. Eventually the people arrived, they changed my tire, they did what they needed to do. And then I honestly, I forgot about it. Right? Because I get to ride home on that fabulous spare that I got. And my tire is in my trunk. And I could sit there and act as if, oh my gosh, I forgot all about that this was an issue when it was happening. And then here I am on Saturday, and I still haven't addressed what happened at the beginning of the week. Because for me, it was one of those things where it just was like, it just left my mind. It's like, if I don't have to go out and get in my car, it's not a present at mind. There are so many of us who stew over thoughts that Stephanie called it ants, automatic negative thoughts that come up in our minds anytime something goes wrong. We have these automatic thoughts that start to invade, and then we can focus on, and they pull us down a rabbit hole instead of us looking at the rabbit hole and making a decision. Do I want to go there? Do I want to experience this? Do I want this as part of my consciousness? You guys, the part of the problem is that people don't tell us that we can make choices about what it is that we focus in on. That's one of the wonderful things that came out of meditation for me, is to realize that I can make a choice with every thought that comes into my mind. I can look at it and say, is this something that I want to focus in on? If it's not, I move it to the side because I control my thinking. So whether it is, and sure enough, I know that there are some things that'll just kind of grate on you, a relationship or something you felt like you could have done differently in order to, you know, to stay on a job longer, or we sit there and we go back to these thinkings, these thoughts, and we replay them in our minds, giving them power, and then clouding out everything else that we could possibly be thinking about. Well, that's why I say that meditation is so wonderful, because what I know is that I get to choose what shows up on the screen of my consciousness and my mind. When you have the ability to shift your thoughts, if you take that, right, you have the ability to control. But one of the things that A Course in Miracles says, I know. One of the things that A Course in Miracles says is that an untrained mind can do little. Just like when we talk about strength, if we are not consciously strengthening our bodies, if we are not consciously exercising, you just can't call on your muscles to start working like that. It takes work. It takes coming back to it over and over again to develop the musculature or the endurance necessary to do what it is that you have to do. If you're not doing that, it's not just laying there like, today, right? No, it's going to sleep. And everything is like that. And so, whether it's your mind, when you train your mind that, you know what, I'm only going to focus in on, or I'm going to entertain this particular thought, right? When you do that, so whether it's relationships or whether it's prosperity, if the first thing that you think about all the time is what you don't have, or oh no, not this again, if you have an automatic negative thoughts that come up in your mind, that will be your go-to. Well, so, and what I'm saying to you is that you have the possibility of shifting that around and not making that your go-to. You have the ability to say, just to keep coming back. There is this little book. I just reread it I guess a couple of weeks ago, about the golden key. And what the golden key is how to keep bringing your mind back to something constant. So if you thinking to yourself, like whatever that may be, right? It may be a prayer, like that is God's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Or if you want to make it, all things are working for my good. If you want to make it whatever it is, that when something comes up, you have a trigger to bring you back to where it is that's going to be your baseline thought. Even if at the time you don't believe your baseline thought, there is a way of pulling yourself back to that baseline thought so you don't get stuck going down a rabbit hole of how bad things are. Oh my gosh. I can hear the birds chirping in my ear, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. But how not to get caught up in the automatic negativity of the things that come up in your mind. And so we do this by first deciding what it is that, we want to hold true, right? What is it that you want to hold true? That all things are working for your good, even before you ask, it is given. What is it that you want to hold true? Get that fixed in your consciousness. And once you get that fixed in your consciousness, then make that your thing that you pull back to. I tell you that, when I say these things, a lot of times what we do is have that automatic negative thinking that comes up and says, oh, that won't work, right? But if you try it, right? If you make a concerted effort to try it, and then even sometimes when you forget, because like anybody else, I mean, there are times when we absolutely forget. So if it's something like, let's go back to finances, right? If you have the expectation that what can go wrong will go wrong, then you will constantly see something going wrong because that's your expectation. But even this, like, say, for instance, I say to myself, this is a constancy in my mind, that all things are working for my good, even when I perceive them as bad. So say, for instance, if at some point I have the tire burst, right? It may appear on the surface to be bad. But what I know is that if all things are working for my good, then all I do is I keep looking at the situation, even if it appears at first to be something contrary. I'm holding in my mind that this is working for my good. So what may happen is that I go to Sam's Club, and Sam's Club replaces my tire for free, right? That's absolutely happened to me. Sam's Club replaces my tire for free. And then the car wash reimburses me for the set amount that they have for a tire that burst in there. And then that means that I've gained even when it looked like at the first place I may have lost, right? You never know what happens. But when we speak our word and we start giving it negative energy, we draw. Energy follows thought. What you think about, you bring about. So if you are constantly pulling at the negative, you will constantly get the negative because energy follows thought. You are a creative being. You get to, oh my gosh, you get to create the world according to your perception of it. And once we start to change around our perception, even about ourselves, then the world begins to change. If you and here's the thing, because a lot of times what I see is that people have these automatic negative thoughts even about themselves. Nobody's going to listen to me, nobody's going to like me, there's people that I'm attracted to are not attracted to me. Whatever it is that their thinking is that goes along in that line. Wonder if you started speaking words over yourself, so every day I speak over myself, right? May everyone who lays eyes on me be blessed, right? And so whatever that may be, if you start to speak words over yourself, like I am a magnet for my good, I am a magnet for money, I am a magnet for. If you start speaking words over yourself, if you start saying that people can't help but see your beauty, people can't help but see how wonderful you are, when you start speaking words over yourself, then something changes, because what people respond to you, they tell us all minds are joined, right? All minds are joined. And so your thoughts go out and speak even before your mouth does, because energetically you feel a particular way. So that energy that is about you, that the essence of what it is that you are thinking is already communicating even before you walk in the door. You start thinking to yourself like, well, they treated me just like this person over here treated me, or was treating me, right? And it's because the energy that you are projecting is what people read. It's kind of like, we don't see pheromones, right? But pheromones are communicating to people. We don't even recognize that we have these animalistic senses, but we are either drawn to or repelled by something that we can't see. So whether it's energy or smell or whatever it is, sometimes it is the atmosphere. What did I do with that picture? All of us have an aura, whether you can see auras or not. We have something that we are giving off that communicates to other people about who we are, right? And so people pick up on that. You have to work on this internally. That means that this is a matter of mind, which means that now if I recognize it's a matter of mind, then what I need to do is I need to correct that in mind before I will see the outpicturing outside of me. Now, let me say this, because I have been through some stuff. I'm always telling people about experiences that I've had. I used to have this thing, because I used to think that, I don't even know how to explain it. I could go out and I was always getting, let me knock on wood as I say this, I was always getting play, right? And y'all know what I mean by that, right? I didn't always take it as positive, right? It was one of those things where I would get this, ooh, how you doing? And it's like, well, don't come at me like that, right? Don't come at me like that. And so for a minute there, I was griping about the kind of attention that I was getting. And so I was mad about it. I'm just trying to keep this real. I was mad about it. And sometimes you check your zipper to see if your zipper is down or if your buttons are unbuttoned or whatever. You sit up there looking like at yourself, because not only did I get it from this person, I got it from that person, I got it over there, I got it over here. I kept, and I started to ask myself, this is the work I was doing. It's like, if I don't see like what's showing up, then what I need to do is not sit up there and trip about what's showing up. It's, what do I need to do to change the vibrational energy that I'm projecting, that doesn't show up for me anymore. So at first I was just griping about the attention I was getting. I was mad about it. I was like, and so when I got mad about it and I was like, trying to stamp it down, then when I went out and nobody saw me, I was thinking to myself like, hey, nobody is giving me this attention that I had grown accustomed to, negative or positive. It was as if I was invisible. So I'm like, hey, right? And so then I started saying, oh God, I'm so grateful for, right? I'm so grateful for the attention that I received. But now I needed to make some adjustments in the energy that I was sending out. And so one of the things that I know is that this is a matter of mind, right? And so what is it? I had to really evaluate what was in my thoughts, as opposed to trying to evaluate the people that were showing up. I had to make an adjustment in the dial. And so the adjustment in the dial meant that there were certain things about me that I had to dial back, and certain other things that I had to dial a little bit forward, so that I was constantly making maneuvers in myself, personality wise, in order to shift around the energy that I was receiving. What does that look like? For each of us, that could look like something different. Some people who you have absolutely no sexual energy. I mean, when you look at them, you don't see anything that ticks off on that thing. And then there are others who always look like whatever is, whether it's a male or a female. And so at certain points in my life, I know that people were perceiving my sexual energy as being way up, and then this discretionary energy must have been way down, because I was getting all kind of crazy stuff. So then I had to adjust the dial, right? Adjust it, and then watch what the results were. Right? So it's not just a matter of, and so we do this in mind. So say, for instance, if you are a person who is, who you've got some negative energy, right? And it's funny, because usually when people perceive you as negative, the first thing you do is we get defensive about it. Like, I'm not negative. That's the first thing that usually happens. I'm not that. But if we pay attention to what's showing up, if we're paying attention to how people respond to us, or if we're paying attention, then what we can see is there any truth here whatsoever? That's one of the things that I like to do too for myself. Can I see any truth in this? And if I can see any truth in this, then let me deal with it from the place where I see truth, not necessarily because so-and-so said this, or because or because this happened once over here, or a couple of times over there. Let me look and see what it is that I see in this, and then start to make my adjustments on my mental dial. So if, say, for instance, you are perceived as negative, then what about you is negative? What areas in your life could you change to be less negative? If your energy is overly sexual, then think about what it is that you are thinking about, right? Even how you perceive love and relationships, right? Because if the only thing that you have to offer people is your sexuality, that will be the only thing that they respond to. So that means that you have to adjust. If you don't like it, then that means that you adjust. Okay, I need to also, or I can ramp up what I have going over here in this spiritual house. I can ramp up what I have going over here in mentally, and the dynamics that I'm projecting out mentally. I can dial this back a little, couple of notches, right? Because that's not the only thing that I want people to be attracted to. And you start to make the psychological adjustments. And so sometimes that means sitting in a space and getting quiet and figuring out what it is. It's kind of like tasting a recipe and trying to determine whether or not you got enough celery and enough onions, and or if it's too much sage, or if it's not enough of this or not enough of that. We are making adjustments in our mindset, just like you would in any other thing. So what needs to, do I need more spice or do I need less spice? Do I need more laughter or do I need more lightheartedness, or do I need, what else is it that I need? Until you get it, it's like some gumbo, right? You kind of keep making adjustments and not assuming that just because you throw it in a pot that it's done. No, you have got to really start to allow the experience of what's showing up to speak to you about what's in this in your mindset. Right? And that is the only way that we can really start to fine tune the things that we put out into the world, that we project into the world. And so there is this constant reevaluation that goes on that you don't even have to speak to, but then you notice the results of what shows up. And so if you don't like what's showing up, just keep tweaking it, just like you do anything else. And then in the tweaking of it, what you will see is that things start to change. And sometimes it will be a lull, right? Sometimes it won't be an immediate response to what it is you're doing. Sometimes that even when you turn in a ship, you can't just turn it and make a hard left. You gotta, when you start making the adjustments, sometimes there's a little lull before you get to where, so don't try to do it so swiftly that you don't give yourself a chance to see, the changes, and if the changes are making a difference. Sometimes we're so phony with stuff that we don't allow it to sort of to simmer and to marinate so it all comes together. We want it to be immediate, and it's not always immediate, right? And that goes with everything. The results are not immediately clear. And so when you start just keep working it and trying to figure out what it is that you can do, or what it is that you can change within your own being to be more of the person that you desire to be. Because all of this stuff is not hardwired, right? All of us are, we are beings that change according to our environment. There are all types of things that impact who we are. And so when we start to look at the impact of the people that we surround ourselves with, what we believe about, what all has happened up until this point, sometimes what I know too is that, say for instance, had all my relationships been with tack-headed people who only related to me in a particular way, and I had a desire for something else, but I didn't know how to call it forth, I might just think, oh, all people are like this, right? And that's a lot of times, and I mean, I hate to put it out there like this, but that's a lot of times when women say all men are dogs or all men are this or all men are that, it's because of what they have surrounded themselves with. If you haven't been exposed to men who are about something, then you'll have the perception that they're all a particular way. If that's the only thing that you're drawing to you, don't look at them, look at yourself, right? And when you start to work on yourself and what it is that you're putting out there, what you see showing up will be different. Because what you get is a vibrational match for what you think. And so that's why I am so quick to correct people when they start telling me that there's no good this out there, or there's no nothing, something like this is not happening. I'm quick to correct that, because what I know is that when you start to adjust the recipe that you're working with, what shows up is adjusted to. And so like I'm saying, there can be a period of time when there's a shift, but you got to check yourself first, because what you may be pulling to you is what you expect. And so then once so if you're pulling something based on the vibrational energy that says that what's out here, all that's out here is this, right? If you're drawing to you that particular thing, then make the adjustments. And as you make the adjustments, also adjusting your thinking, what it is that you're pulling. And so when you start to do those things, I'm telling you this stuff, it's amazing how it works. You can't expect to, okay, so, and going back to this, because I don't believe this, right? I know that I got some amazing men in my life, right? So I don't have the perception. I'm just using what I know people complain about all the time. So if your thought says that all men are dogs, then if you stop putting out dog food, or if you stop throwing bones at everything, then what you'll have to get by necessity is people who are not looking for that, right? But we sit there and what we use dog biscuits, we use the dog bones, we use all of this stuff in order to draw people, and then get mad because that's what we're drawing. You have got to put something out different, right? You can't get the thing that you're looking for when you're throwing out the exact opposite of it. And it's energetically, it could be energetically, or it could be in actuality. That's what you're throwing out there. That's what you're putting out there. So that's what you're going to get back. We have to shift our energy. And as you shift your energy, then what you will do is you will draw people to you that are like what it is that you are attracting. So if you want somebody, whatever this may be, I'm not even talking about relationships by and large. We could be talking about a job. We could be talking about a business. We could be talking about finances. We could be talking about any number of things, right? And so even if it's good health, if it's perfect health, you are not going to get good health when you got activity that is the exact polar opposite of it, right? You sitting up saying that you want good health is you sitting up there, just hitting some buttons and playing a game. You got to get up and actually be a participant in what it means to have good health, whether it's exercising or taking supplements or taking care of your brain or watching your diet, all of those things. You got to actually put forth the efforting. That means that the same thing, just like making the gumbo, we got to put a little bit of this in there, a little bit of that in there, and then keep adjusting it until we find the right combination to make it right. And if you're not doing that, then all you're doing is taking a crap shot and not realizing that you got a part to play in this. And so all of us have a part to play in who it is that we are and how it is that we're showing up and what it is that we're drawing or attracting. All of that is, it matters what we put out there. So the tree is still sparkling. It matters what you put out there. So start to, if you don't like what you see showing up, start to do something different. What you can do, the only thing that you can change is yourself. And so if you stop complaining about what you see showing up and really start doing the work on what it is that you are being, then that will make all the difference in the world. I don't know why I needed to talk about that today, but I did. It was good. It's all good. Yeah, think about what it is. Energy follows thought. What you think about, you bring about. By right of consciousness, things show up as they are supposed to. So it's not the things that you are seeing. And this is not, I guess I'd be remiss if I say, don't look at this from a place of desperation, whatever it is, because don't nothing like desperate, right? Even money, when you are trying to bring money to you, money don't even want to be in desperate hands, right? So don't think in desperation, think in gratitude and just, thankful for what it is that shows up. Just, because the grabbing comes from a sense of lack. So even as you're grabbing and desperate for, that desperation has it repels exactly what it is that you're trying to draw. So recognize that there may be a lull and get comfortable in just sitting in the awareness that what's supposed to show up is going to show up. What's for me is going to be here. It's going to, it's going to show up. And so, just think about it in those terms. Because I think, for me, I think that is what works. And you may debate that, you may question, but try it, try it. Give yourself some time too, right? Here's the thing. Say, for instance, we start, somebody will tell us to go and take, I'm quick at telling people about seasonal affective disorder because it was something that has impacted my life, right? Not having enough sunlight has in the past had me extremely depressed. I would walk around, talk about nobody seeing me. I would walk around and I would just be in the midst of the darkness of January and just be my soul crying out. And this was before the pandemic, before all of this stuff. I just wanted somebody to see me, to acknowledge me. I felt there was times when I felt totally suicidal in January, in those dark days. I was catching it. Oh my God, it seemed like other people were happy and other people were having a good time. Other people were this, other people were that. I was in a dump. I was in a dark place. And it was, me praying about it. kind of one of those things like, God, I stretch my hand to thee, no other help I know kind of prayers, right? And then I found out about this seasonal affective disorder. So I'm like, oh, and what do I need to do? I need to buy a sunlight. I need to buy a light that gives me extra sun and to take some vitamin D and all of that stuff. And so immediately when you find that out, you expect the results to happen like immediate, right? No matter if I tell you that you need to tweak something in your thinking or in your thoughts, you expect that it's going to happen immediate, but it doesn't happen immediate, right? So what but it did have an effect. It did start to change. I got me a light. Now every time I see a light someplace that is, that I can get, I buy a light. That's how I got this one that's down here, right? That sits behind me. Every time I see one of those lights, I get a light, and I have given away the lights because people don't believe you when you tell them that it makes a difference. I sit up under the light every single day, even in the summertime, because I know that there is lag time between the time that you begin to feel the effects of seasonal affective disorder. So say, for instance, this starts to happen in November going into December, and I wait until I start feeling depressed to turn on the light. Then it takes a minute for that light, the benefits of the light to kick in. Just, it's lag time in between that. So now what do? I sit under the thing every single day. Whether it's summer, winter, spring, summer, and fall, my light is on. I sit under that thing every day. So if somebody tells you to take some vitamins, or if somebody tells you, oh, you might benefit from this or you might benefit from that, it takes time for things to work. So give it a minute, even when it's just you changing your mind about yourself. Give it a minute, sit in that, right? Learn how to be grateful, learn how to change your mind, learn how to tweak your thoughts, learn how to sit in meditation so that you can see that you are not a victim of your thoughts. You have the ability to change them. And so when you start seeing yourself and seeing the power within you, what happens is you begin to change. Your life begins to change. You get to be the light. You get to be the light, see the light, all of that stuff, right? I don't know who was supposed to hear this, but I know it's always good for me. So I bless you and thank you for being here. It's time for me to go. And I am wishing you an amazing Saturday. Tomorrow I will be on at 1 o'clock. God willing, and the creek don't rise, 1 p.m. right here on my Facebook Live, and then back Monday through Friday at 7:30-ish with Stephanie, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays I'm here by myself. So having said that, I love and adore y'all. I love and adore you. Yes, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Kalita. Hey, good to see you, love. How are you? And something that I learned from Kalita, right? Lower body exercise is amazing. Go take a walk. Go take a walk. It's amazing what that could do. All right. So, all right. I love y'all. See ya. And I'm up here about to turn out the light. Like that's the off button. All right. Have an amazing day.